Welcome back to another episode of the Life Money Balance podcast, where we help you let your life lead your money, not your money lead your life, where we help you achieve the life you want. And we are back with another episode with a very special guest. But before we start, we love for you to like, share, and share and subscribe to the show. For those that are already subscribed, we thank you. We want to reach as many people as we can and help you achieve the life that you want with this financial education. All right, special guest. We actually, when I say we, Concurrent Financial Planning, added a couple of new advisors the last couple of months. And Dr. Philip Gibson is our Chief Compliance Officer and one of our talented wealth advisors. I want you to go on to concurrentfp.com and see our new website. It's fantastic. And I want you to check out Dr. Gibson's bio. Well accomplished. You're going to enjoy his story. We'll do another podcast one day about his background and his accomplished career. But Dr. Gibson, Philip, I've known you for a long time. I appreciate you being on the show. And thank you for joining Concurrent.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for, being such a good friend for all these years and a good business partner. And, it's an honor to be here on the show today.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. Come on, man. Hey.
Yeah, no, I said, so people know this is the first time I'm appearing on this podcast. And, I'm looking forward to doing many more in the future because, we have a wealth of information to just share and to help everybody attain that life money balance that they're looking for.
Yeah, no doubt. We just chop it up on the show, Philip. Yeah. We're here having lighthearted conversations for folks to just tune in and get knowledge from where they at, meet people where they are in their life, and getting some information, right? And you've had conversations not only in the classroom but with clients for your entire career. And so it's a passion of yours, right?
This is a passion. And you mentioned the classroom. So, we're educating students, we're educating the next generation of financial advisors that are going out there. And, we're working with clients and we're helping people. So this is a passion. This is what I do. I feel like my whole purpose when it comes to this profession is just to help, to educate, and to uplift, right? Seeing people do well is one of the most fulfilling experiences that anyone, or definitely me, could experience, right? And it's just about helping and just uplifting.
Right, no doubt. I mean, and you can do that in the financial advice as well. When we're serving clients, it's when we're giving advice, whether it's education in the classroom or advice to clients, it's advancing people's human condition at the end of the day. Advancing people's human condition, improving people's life through financial education and financial advice. And they take that and increase their well-being at the end of the day. And this is what we're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Just making people better. Ideally in life, you want to get to that place where you're not worried about your finances. You're not worried about all these different things, right? And what we can do, and we have the abilities through, education, through our processes, through our knowledge. We spent a lot of time studying financial planning, and we continue to study and research in the field. And it's all about helping, right? To uplift. And I really do like when you use the term uplifted. I really love that because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're trying to elevate people, right? To uplift them, give them that peace of mind.
Right, no doubt. Yeah. And what are some of your mantras before we get into the topic of today? Because people are going to love the topic of today because it's very relevant to some of the things that are going on right now. We like to talk about relevant topics that are timely. But what are some of your pillars that you live by? Not only personal financial pillars and personal pillars in life, just life pillars and financial pillars that you live personally by, and how you transfer to clients?
Well, first off, God, family, right? And peace of mind, right? I want to make sure that when I'm working with you, when I'm with my family, when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm at that point in my life where I am happy, confident. I'm in that place of peace. And the only way for me to be in that place is to know that I am doing the best that I possibly can and that I'm doing what I know is right. And I'm putting my clients' interests first. I'm putting my students' interests first, right? I'm looking out for them, making sure that, you know, what they need, what they want is being accomplished or catered to. Same with my children. I'm not going to treat anyone how I wouldn't want to be treated, I want to put it in a position. If you were my child, this is how I would want you to be treated, right? If you're my spouse, this is how I want you to be treated. And doing that gives me peace.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's the way. That's the way. We don't. I heard somebody once, as one of our colleagues said, nobody likes to be should on. Right, it's a good line. I wish that was my line, but in this
Yeah.
case, right, that is a should.
Yeah.
Right, peace of mind, like you said. Right, peace of mind. Sometimes, when people hear that, they're like, "Oh my goodness, peace of mind." There they go. It's another cliche. But
Yeah.
you put it so eloquently, and you put a value to it,
Yeah.
where people can feel it, because at the end of the day, people want things that they can feel,
Mhm.
and they want to be understood and measurable. And peace
Correct.
of mind is measurable because it's a feeling, and it's a measurable that they can see in their pocketbooks and in their personal lives.
Correct. Yeah. We don't need to complicate things, right? We really don't. Get to that point in life where you are happy and you're content,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's something that I strive for every day. When I'm working, when I'm playing, everything, you're in that comfort zone. Yes, you're growing and you're always elevating yourself, but you want to be in that place where you have peace.
Right. No
Yeah.
doubt. No doubt. Well, let's get to the topic of the day, because what we always lead the show at the podcast talking about let's chop it up.
Yeah.
So we're hearing a lot on the airwaves here lately, in the markets, and on the news, about where people are in their lives, in their professional lives, whether they're running businesses or professional lives, with layoffs potentially,
Mhm.
or retiring, all right, or just scaling up with their new jobs,
Mhm.
finding new opportunities. So all of these are life events, and with life events, they may have retirement plans at their former places. And we're hearing words like rollover, 401k rollovers. What do I do? So the questions that you hear on all the news media, and maybe Reddits and all this, is, and even with our clients and our
Mhm.
prospects, they ask us, what do I do with my retirement plan at my former place, with this life event, whether it's going to my new job, that I got a higher income at, or I got laid off, I'm looking for another one, or I'm about to retire.
Mhm.
So, what do they do? Philip, what are some of these options?
Yeah, this is going to sound a bit cliche, but really it's going to depend, right? It really will depend on the situation, the funds that you're invested in, right? Because ultimately you want to make sure that you are investing in a way that helps you get to your goals, right? Now, one of the first things I would recommend, and this is going to come from someone who's a practicing advisor, is to speak to someone who can, let's say, for example, you left a job and there's a 401k there, to speak to someone who can look at your 401k, look at the investment options in your 401k, and if it is that you have a new employer, they can look at that 401k at the new employer, and if that new employer accepts funds from old 401k, then that is an option that can be considered. Another option is to speak to the advisor. If the advisor is one that provides professional portfolio management or gives advice with regards to investments, then if they're in a position to where they can improve upon what is in your 401k or make it better, give you better options, then that's certainly a path that you can consider, right? But it shouldn't just be, and you also have the option to leave the funds there, right? You have the option to leave it in the 401k, right? But it shouldn't just be quick, I'm leaving a job, I'm going to cash out my 401k. It should never be that's the case, right? Because chances are it's pre-tax money in the 401k, which means that, you're probably going to get hit with some taxes for that, or you more than likely will have to pay the taxes on that, right? And then if you're under the age of 59 and a half, there's that potential 10% penalty that will come with it, right?
Yeah.
So you really want to ensure that you are looking at the entire picture and work with an advisor who can help you navigate that and make the best possible decision is going to be important, because you have options, but you want to make sure that you make the right decision.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the three options, like you mentioned, to summarize, is to cash out, leave it at your former employer, or roll it over to an IRA that's outside of a new employer. And actually, it's four options. And now that I think about it, I left the third one out, right? Or roll it over to your new one. Mm-hmm. So cash out, roll it over to your new employer, leave it at your old employer, or roll it over to a IRA outside of a employer, right? Correct. So those are the four, and all of them have their I wouldn't even say pros and cons. It's trade-offs.
Yeah, trade-offs.
Yeah, they're trade-offs, and some folks use terms like your 401ks are locking up your money, or the employers have lots of fees, or if you roll it over to an IRA, in some cases, and work with an advisor, then there's fees that way. Again, it's trade-offs. It's not necessarily pros and cons. It's trade-offs, and there's good fits to where you are in life and what you value most at the time, right? Because there's do-it-yourselfers. You say, okay, well, I want to direct myself and roll it over to an IRA that I'm going to do my own advising to myself, and that's perfectly fine. And that is a road to go, right? And but there's also there's also benefit to where when somebody in benefit, I say, what do you value most as an individual? It says, okay, I want to roll it over to an IRA and work with someone, because if you have a lot of funds built up in a retirement plan, then and you roll it over to an individual IRA outside of an employer, then it does open you up to better services for an advisor. Because advice is it does cost.
Yeah.
I mean, so it just depends. And then also I'll let you speak on this, which is rolling over to your next employer. That trade-off is, hey, it could be you can have your eyes on it because there's a good plan over there, right? Yeah. So it just depends. So just expand on those four options right there and just where you are in life.
It just depends, right? So how complex would you like me to get, right? And this is what, so these are options, and, we've laid them out in pretty simple terms, but it could actually become very complicated if not done right. We can say, take for example, I've built up a national nest egg in my 401k, and I decide, for example, I'm going to roll it over to a traditional IRA, right? So it's an IRA, and we'll be able to roll over IRA. So it goes from the 401k to the IRA with an advisor. Now, let's say that I get to a point in my life where my income is at a threshold to where I can no longer contribute to a Roth IRA. Right, so we have Roth IRA, which are after-tax dollars. Very beneficial if you can contribute and have that after-tax bucket grow. Right now, what a lot of people at times don't know is that regardless of your income, provided that you have earned income, that you can contribute to a traditional IRA, and then you can roll it over to a Roth, right? So I can no longer contribute directly to a Roth, but I can put it into a traditional and then roll it over, right? Now, let's just say I have this IRA that I just rolled over. And, I heard on this podcast that, I could potentially do these, what do you call it?
The
Backdoor Roth
backdoor Roth,
contributions,
yeah.
right? And then I go and I execute it just like that. It seems pretty simple. Put the money in the traditional and then roll it over. But then guess what? I didn't factor in the traditional IRA, right? So now I get hit with some taxes that I didn't expect.
Right.
Right. So
that's that pro rata rule.
That pro rata rule, right? So it can be complex, which is why, I go back to having a conversation with someone who is familiar with the intricacies of how these things work, right? Rollovers, you have direct rollovers, indirect rollovers, right?
Yeah.
Another situation where things could get a bit murky and all of a sudden it doesn't go according to plan and now you end up with a potential distribution as opposed to a rollover.
So let's unpack that. Let's unpack that because this is why, working with yourself is fantastic because everybody has the ability to learn and get all the knowledge that you need to make an efficient financial decision. Everybody has the ability to do that, but that's why it's so many posts nowadays in social media and even in your traditional news media and the like, and even some of the information that comes from the big box places. It says common mistakes, so on and so forth, right? Because they are common. And one of the quote unquote common mistakes comes from the transfers and the indirect and the direct transfers. So let's unpack that for a minute, right? So when we talk about direct transfers, that's going directly from one employer sponsored plan to another without touching your pocket at all. It doesn't come to you directly. It doesn't even touch your hand. It goes from one institution to another. That is a direct transfer. And then an indirect transfer says it's coming from your former employer. It's going to come to you for a hot minute, probably within 60 days. You're going to hold on to it. Then it's going to go to your next employer institution. And if you don't transfer those funds within 60 days, then you're going to get a tax hit, all right, of 20%. And that could be costly, right? So let's unpack that for me, expand that on that for me. Because some people don't know that 60%, that 60-day rule or those tax consequences. They say, oh, man, I got that bill. What happened there?
Yeah, so you get that time, so, you take the money, you essentially get a check. You get 60 days to where you have to move it to the new plan or you move it to your IRA, right? Now, when they do cut you that check, they're going to withhold some money, right? Typically, they'll just withhold the 20%, but you're going to have to put that full 100% in that account where you're moving that money, right? So you're going to have to come up with that 20%. And then once you file your taxes, then you'll figure it out then, right? You'll get your reimbursement at that point. But still, a lot of times when individuals when they leave a job and they're moving their plan, companies, a lot of times they may not do that, that plan to plan transfer, but they'll actually just send you a check. And the intention is, or the idea is that you're supposed to send that check and have those funds go to where it should be going to keep that tax status, that pre-tax status.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many intricacies. And I would say too, I would go back and I guess reiterate. It depends on so many. Cause you started off with, it depends. That was
It
your line.
depends.
It
Yeah.
depends. And you, like you said, it sounds cliche, but it does. Where are you in your life cycle? What do you value right now? What's going to benefit you the most? Because there are those four options: cash
Mhm.
out, leave it at your employer, transfer to your employer, or roll it over to IRA.
Mhm.
What are you doing, and where are you in your life? Uh, do you need the money?
Yes.
Okay. Are you retiring? Are you
Mhm.
in pre-retirement?
Yes.
Do you need flexibility to where you need multiple accounts
Mhm.
right now? Do you need advice or don't you need advice? Do you need comprehensive planning or don't you? Are you a do-it-yourself or not? Um, how many financial needs or needs meaning goals do you have right now? Right? There's so many. What type of investment options do you want? All right.
Right.
How much flexibility? What's your current tax status?
Mhm.
Right now, do you need some immediate tax deductions? Do you need to diversify your taxes over time? Because it's more about tax diversification over time. All of
Right.
these all of these decisions come into play when you're talking about what to do with your 401k, rolling it over when you're talking about a triggering tax, life event that happens, right?
Yeah. So while we spoke about the four options, I mean, they're way more involved, right? And that's one of the things about planning. It's involved, right? Because ultimately, the goal is to get you to that place where you have that peace of mind, right? I go back to that peace of mind again, right? To get you there. But there are a lot of little things that we have to make sure are working together to get you there.
Yeah.
Because
What,
one,
what would you say? And I didn't mean to cut you off there, but you hit a good point there. What would you say when in all your experience, in our experience working with clients, but you in particular, when folks are going through this life event, those life events that we mentioned, and this event is happening, and you talk about peace of mind. What are some of the things people are concerned about most when they're going through something like this, and they're asking, they say, what do I do?
yeah, what do I do?
Yeah, with when the 401k, they say,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what's next for me,
Mhm.
and what's some of the things that are top of mind for them?
Yeah, what should I do in my 401k? I mean, should I are these plans, are these funds good enough for me? Should I continue? A lot of times, it'll be I don't like these investments that I have, right? So help me navigate this. Or I don't have enough saved. I'm moving to a new employer, right? This is how much I can contribute. Here's how much they are gonna match me, and there's a option to do this mega backdoor Roth conversion that they mentioned. What is this, right? So there are numerous things. It's just never one thing that an individual has, which is why it goes back to, it really just depends on you and your needs, right? And we're going to figure out a plan to get you to that point, because for many of us, gone are the days of pensions, right? Where you just work, 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 and then all of a sudden, you get to that point when it's time to retire, and then you'll get a paycheck throughout retirement. No, we got to do it ourselves. So we want to make sure that we do the best possible job,
Right.
right? Because if you think about it, you're going to spend about a third of your life, right? And retirement looks very different. It doesn't necessarily mean sitting at home or and just enjoying doing leisure activities. All retirement looks different for all of us, right? But many of us will spend a third of our lives in retirement. So you want to make sure that the steps you take along the way are optimal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And what I heard from you is like, when when folks are making this decision, there's so many factors to take into account. Like auditing the next plan, seeing what type of options they offer. Maybe it's investment options. Maybe it's do they have a after tax contribution option? Do they have a Roth 401k option?
Yeah.
Do what are their access to advice? What do they access to advice, right? Because one platform may have access to advice, but they may not. Do you want tailored advice? Then you may have to go somewhere else to get it, right? I mean, so and again, do you need some of the money? And it's okay too to take some money off the table if you need it. If you need it, then it's okay. It's okay to pay tax sometimes. I know some of the folks though they don't believe that. I always pose the question. I said, you know what? If you gave somebody $500, right, and then and you said, hold on to this for me, and then they came back to you and gave you $1,000 back, and they said, you know what? I'm gonna give you this $1,000. All I ask for you is to give me 100. So that means you have $900 in your pocket. Would you take that deal? You gave them 500. You tell them to hold on for it. They gave you 1,000 and said, just give me $100 back. Right? Yeah. You got $900 in your pocket. You're plus 400. I said, would you take that deal? And if you put that language to folks, most people would take that.
Yeah, and
but the word tax in there, they're like, no, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So paying taxes, it's a responsibility, right? To pay our taxes. The goal is to be as, I like to use the word efficient a lot. So the goal is to ensure that you're optimizing on what the tax code offers you, right? And I'll say this: sometimes paying taxes today means paying less in the future.
Right.
Which is something else that we'll have to consider, right? Should we do that Roth conversion? What is the math behind it, right? Are you going to be better off financially in the future? So, I'm happy you mentioned that because again, it's something else that we have to consider.
Yeah, no doubt. And those are going to be some future shows for sure. Roth conversions and paying taxes. One of the point was yes, if you want to cash out just a little bit and then roll over some of the other monies and these other, to your other employer or your others, yes, but consider your why, Philip, because you've mentioned it multiple times. It's take a breath, pause and analyze your situation before you just do that. A lot of folks, no matter where they are in life, they just say, I'm just going to cash this out, right? Think about that first and consider the other three options. Leave it at your employer, transfer it to your employer, transfer it to IRA, and consider your whole situation before you make a rash decision, and consider it all because there's a lot to think about. Any last we couldn't cover it all because it's such an important decision, right? But we touched on a couple of things. But what do you want to leave with the folks today? Something that you just want to leave with the hearts and minds.
It's change. Oftentimes can be difficult, right? Such as changing from one employer to another, but change oftentimes is good as well, right? And when it comes to your finances, the financial aspect, it's important that you work with individuals who are there to guide you, to help you, who will put your interests first, right? Just keep on working to attain that peace of mind that you have, right? It goes back to what I started this conversation with. What do you need to attain that peace of mind to keep on growing and just to elevate yourself, to find that balance in life, that great financial well-being.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah. Philip, man, thanks for dropping that knowledge and being a part of the firm now. And when you come back onto the show, you're going to continue dropping this knowledge on folks. And folks, you're going to love Philip coming back on the show. And we're going to have the next folks coming on the show and dropping these gems. So, Philip, thanks a lot. Appreciate you, my friend.
I appreciate you having me today.
Yep, no doubt. And if you like what you hear, feel, and heard and see today, I want you to like, subscribe to the show, and we'll see you again. Cheers. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you heard, seen, and feel to help you achieve your wealth and well-being journey, then like, share, and subscribe to the Life Money Balance channel. And if you're ready, visit the website and schedule an appointment. And be on the lookout for the next L&B lesson. Cheers.